Jonathan Kuminga has been in the rumor mill this entire July, and there are reports now where Sacramento offered Dario Saric in two second rounds. Is his price dropping, and should the Bulls swoop in? We'll talk about it.
This is your home for all things Chicago Bulls. Join the conversation. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What is going on, Bulls Nation? So Jonathan Kuminga has been linked with the Bulls forever now. When the free agency started, there were reports that the Bulls are interested in Kuminga, and I believe they are. I believe there are several teams that are interested in Kuminga, but it seems like no one wanted to pay for him. I'm not sure if it's Kuminga's camp asking too much, or is it Golden State asking for too much, but the price is dropping to an extent where Sacramento offered Dario Saric. I forgot the rookie's name, Carter, and 2 second-round picks. This is a guy that was touted as, Golden State's golden goose. He's the next big thing and all that stuff. Apparently, the NBA values shooting now. And Jonathan Kuminga is not a bad shooter, but he's also not known for that. In the modern NBA, he is still kind of like the DeMar DeRozan type of player, slashing, very athletic. And make no mistake, I'm still intrigued by Jonathan Kuminga getting lobs from Josh Giddey. I am all for that. With that being said, with this new development where Jonathan Kuminga apparently is only worth Dario Saric now. Because before, I have this impression that to get Jonathan Kuminga, we have to give up Kobe White. Now, if you're going to give up Kobe White, I'm totally against it. Because the idea is to pair up Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and Jonathan Kuminga with Matas Buzelis. That would be a good pairing, in my opinion. That would be a young core. That is, you got two athletic guys, you got shooting in Kobe White, and you got the playmaker in Josh Giddey. That would be ideal. But if you're going to trade Kobe White, because the only way I'll trade Kobe White if he flat out says, I want $40 million next year. Now I'll trade Kobe White because I'm not going to pay him 40. But if Kobe White comes out and say, I want 25 or 30, that is purely feasible. And that would be a good core moving forward with the young fourth teams. Now, if you tell me 2 months ago that we could acquire Jonathan Kuminga using Vucevic and Ayo Dosunmu, I would be like, that's 50-50. I don't think Golden State gonna take that. But now that we're getting into the red zone category, I think they could. And honestly, that is the best trade option that they have. I mean, that is a lot better compared to Dario Saric and 2 second rounders. I mean, I'm just saying. And the other option for Golden State is to re-sign Kuminga, and hopefully some team trades for him after December 15th. I mean, we've seen Kuminga in Golden State for 4 years. We've seen glimpses. And especially now, do you think they're going to give him the ball and have him, pad his stats to give him an audition? In 4 years, they weren't successful to do that. And they didn't have Jimmy Butler then. So I highly doubt that Golden State can up his value now, especially now that Jimmy Butler's on the team. They have more mouths to feed. They don't have time to do that. And if you are Jonathan Kuminga, why would I want to go back for, 3 more years to sign a long-term extension with a team that is kind of holding me back? They've held me back for 4 years now. I think the most likely scenario here is he signs the qualifying offer, and that is bad for Golden State, because that only accounts to $7 million. And now he can veto any trade. So now, instead of them going to base compensation salary, which they would get half, now they're only going to get $7 million back. Like, how many impactful players are you going to get for $7 million if he signs the qualifying offer? So if I was Golden State, I don't want him to sign a qualifying offer. I want him to do a sign and trade right now. We already know that him signing long-term with Golden State is not an option under Steve Kerr. That is just not going to happen. So teams knows that as well. So what are the options now for Jonathan Kuminga? Back then, there was rumors for Washington Wizards. Corey Kispert and a few, picks. That is not bad. That's not a bad return. You got to admit to the fact now that you're not going to get a star-level player for Jonathan Kuminga. So Corey Kispert, I would say, I don't know if that's a better return than Ayo Dosunmu and Vucevic. But I think it's better. It's better than Vooch. Because obviously you can't trade Vooch and Ayo for Kuminga alone because of the base player compensation. So they have to include Moses Moody in this trade. Ayo Dosunmu is very underrated. I actually wanted to retain Ayo Dosunmu on this team. He can play the 1, 2, and 3. Good defensively, very high motor, good defensively. I honestly think they blew up his shoulder injury because the Bulls thought, after trading Zach LaVine, they're just going to be bad. But they weren't bad. They were actually, they creeped there towards the play-in tournament. And, we all know what happened there. Nothing. We got bamboozled by Miami Heat. But I think right now, if the Bulls revisit the package for Jonathan Kuminga but at the same time, two things needs to happen here. Golden State needs to accept that offer, and B, Jonathan Kuminga has to accept a max of $25 million a year. And him and his agent should be more self-aware that he is not worth $30 million. If he really thinks he's worth 30, like him and Josh Giddey should sign a 2-year or 3-year deal, maybe the 3rd year 3-team option, if they really want to believe in themselves. I don't know if the teams are willing to do that. I would if I was the Bulls. $75 million, 3 years, 3rd year team player option. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm still intrigued by the Jonathan Kuminga, especially now that his price is dropping. Time is running out. Golden State needs to sign Al Horford, but that cap hold, Jonathan Kuminga holds a significant amount of cap space because of that cap hold to Golden State. That's why they weren't able to sign any free agents. But I don't know if Golden State can get a better package than what the Bulls offer right now. I for sure wouldn't trade Kobe. If I trade Kobe for Kuminga, I need a 1st-round pick. I do. I'd rather pay Kobe 30 than pay Kuminga 25, to be honest with you. But let me know in the comments, are you still on board with Kuminga? What do you think about the player? Should the Bulls still reignite this rumor? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.